On the morning of my 40th birthday, I wasn't celebrating. I was staring at a list I'd written in the pre-dawn quiet. A list of every hard lesson I wish someone had tattooed on my brain when I was 20. I'm Sam Carter, and this isn't wisdom from a book. This is the scar tissue from a life spent searching for answers in ancient philosophy, in modern neuroscience, in the quiet moments after my own failures, trying to fix what felt broken inside me. And the first truth on that list is the one that changes everything. It's this: your relationship with everyone else in your life is a direct reflection of your relationship with yourself. Your life is a mirror. If you don't respect yourself, you will unconsciously seek out people who disrespect you just to prove your own low self-worth correct. If you don't trust yourself, you will attract untrustworthy people. If you abandon yourself, you will tolerate partners and friends who abandon you. This isn't mystical karma, it's psychology. You accept the love you think you deserve. Treat yourself with dignity. Hold yourself to a high standard, and you will find the presence of people who don't meet that standard becomes physically uncomfortable. You won't tolerate it. Your entire social universe realigns around this one non-negotiable principle. And that first truth, that your outer world is a mirror of your inner world, leads directly to the coldest and most liberating realization of all. No one is coming to save you. Not a partner, not a new job, not a lottery ticket, not some guru. All those things we chase, believing they will finally be the thing that fills the hole inside us, they won't, they can't. That persistent, low-grade feeling of being slightly inadequate, a little bit dissatisfied, as if you're not quite where you're supposed to be. That's not a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that you're human. In fact, statistically speaking, a normal person today is physically unhealthy, emotionally anxious and depressed, socially lonely, and financially in debt. Fuck being normal. The desire to fix that feeling yourself is the start of an extraordinary life. But the fix doesn't begin with a 10-step plan. It begins with a shift in power. And the biggest lie we tell ourselves, the lie that keeps us weak, is that we are victims of our circumstances. Here's the truth. You gain power the moment you claim 100% responsibility for your life. Now, the storm isn't your fault. You didn't create the wind or the waves, but you are at the helm. And from the moment that storm hits, the survival of the ship is entirely your responsibility. Blaming the weather is a luxury for passengers. The captain's job is to steer. Taking responsibility for your problems isn't about assigning blame or feeling guilty. It's about grabbing the wheel of your life and saying, I may not have caused this, but I am the one who will navigate through it. Every time you blame someone else, your parents, your ex, your boss, the government, you are handing them the keys to your emotional state. You are making them the captain of your ship. It's a profound strategic error. When you take responsibility, you take the power back. It's the engine of all forward motion, and that means redefining failure. The only true failure is inaction. The only real rejection is refusing to ask the question. Everything else, every mistake, every awkward attempt, every time you fall on your face, that's not failure, that's data. It's feedback. It's the curriculum of a life well lived. Once you grab that wheel, you're immediately faced with a choice that will define the entire course of your journey over the next 20 years. It's the great deception of your 20s. You have to choose between two opposing forces: slow compounding value versus fast fading excitement. The slow path contains everything of real worth: your health, your wealth, your knowledge, your deep relationships, When you're young, this path is agonizing. A workout doesn't change your body overnight. One saved dollar doesn't make you rich. Reading one book doesn't make you wise. It feels like nothing is happening. But these are the things that compound with time. Like an investment account, the growth is invisible at first, and then it becomes an unstoppable force that builds you an incredible life by your 40s. The fast path is everything that screams for your attention. Social media validation, casual sex, drugs, binge-watching shows, video games. These things start with an incredible high, but they all suffer from intense, diminishing returns. The first time is amazing. The 1000th time is an echo in an empty room, a desperate attempt to feel something you can no longer access. It's a debt you pay with your time, your focus, and ultimately, your future self. Here is the litmus test. If you are not actively, consciously turning down things that excite you in the short term, you are not focused enough on what truly matters in the long term. You must be willing to be bored today to be brilliant tomorrow. And this leads us to the climax of these truths, the inconvenient contract you sign with life's biggest commitments, love and work. We are raised on a diet of romanticism. Find your soulmate, find your dream job, find your passion. It's all a beautiful, dangerous lie. The single most important lesson about adulthood is this: the person you marry is the person you fight with. The house you buy is the house you repair. The dream job you take is the job you stress over. Every single thing that brings you joy will, inevitably, be a source of pain. This is not pessimism. It is the fundamental trade-off of a meaningful life. A happy life is not a life without problems. It is a life with good problems. A life without stress is a life without stakes. The goal is not to eliminate stress. It's to choose a stress that is worth suffering for, a meaningful stress. This is why the idea that love is enough is so destructive. Love is not a solution. Love is an amplifier. In a relationship built on a foundation of solid communication and mutual trust, love amplifies the good. It amplifies the desire to connect after a fight, the joy in each other's successes, the comfort in moments of failure. But in a relationship built on insecurity and poor communication, love amplifies the bad. It amplifies the jealousy, the paranoia, the fear of abandonment. It turns affection into a weapon. If you loved me, you would. Love is not the currency of a relationship. Trust is. And the same is true for your career. We're told to follow our passion. It's backwards. Passion is not the cause of good work, it is the effect. You don't wait around for lightning to strike. You find something you're reasonably interested in, and you commit to the unglamorous, often frustrating process of getting good at it. You show up when you don't feel like it. You push through the plateaus. And through that process of developing competence, of becoming skilled, of creating value for others, that is where passion is born. It's a slow burning fire you build yourself, log by patient log. Of all these truths about life's biggest commitments, love, career, passion, which one hits you the hardest? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I know that's heavy. The weight of those commitments feels immense. But what if I told you that another one of the heaviest weights you carry is completely imaginary? The prison of other people's judgment. We are haunted by it. The fear of looking stupid, of being disliked, of being rejected. Here is the most liberating truth I have ever learned. No one thinks about you as much as you think about yourself. That embarrassing thing you said at a party 2 years ago, you remember it with searing clarity. No one else does. That stumble in the hallway, that awkward silence on a date, gone from their minds in an instant. Why? Because they weren't focused on you.
They were too busy inside their own heads, worrying about what you were thinking about them. We are all the main characters in our own movie, and barely a background extra in anyone else's. Once you truly internalize this, a new kind of confidence is born. True confidence doesn't come from an expectation of success. It comes from a profound comfort with failure.
It's the freedom to try things, knowing that if you fall, almost nobody is watching, and those who are don't matter. This gives you permission to develop a willingness to be disliked. You cannot be a life-changing presence to some people without being a complete joke or an object of contempt to others. True impact requires the courage to polarize. To be memorable, you must risk being hated. So let them judge. You have work to do. And on a very practical note, floss and wear sunscreen. Seriously. In 20 years, your future self will thank me more for this than for any piece of philosophy. And while flossing and sunscreen will save your body, there's one final truth that will save your soul. It's the antidote to our greatest regret. The greatest lie isn't that you've made mistakes, but that it's too late to fix them. Nothing easy in life is meaningful, and nothing meaningful in life is easy. Your 20s are for learning this. Your 30s are for choosing your struggle. Stop looking for the path of least resistance and start looking for the difficult things that you enjoy struggling with. A friend told me a story about his grandmother. She was widowed at 62. The house, once full of noise and life, fell silent. She felt her life was essentially over. One day, she walked past the old piano they'd had for decades, and on an impulse, she opened the dusty lid. She decided to take lessons for the very first time. Her children thought it was a sweet, if slightly crazy, hobby. "Mum, aren't you a little old for that?" But every day, in the quiet of her empty house, she sat down. She wrestled with the clumsy scales. She celebrated mastering a single bar of music. She channeled her grief into the keys. She practiced every day for 30 years. By her early 90s, she wasn't just pretty good for an old lady, she was a master. She played Bach and Mozart with a skill and soulfulness that people assumed she must have cultivated since childhood. Her grandchildren sat in awe. At 62, when she thought her time was up, she had more time left than most professional musicians have been alive. I started writing seriously at 27. I started this channel at 36. It is never, ever too late to begin. The only real question is how much longer you are going to sit here and pretend that it is. And if this resonated with you and you want more unflinching truths, make sure you're subscribed. And hit the like button. It's the fuel that keeps this content coming. And one last thing, you know the deal. Content that challenges the status quo can disappear without warning. Save this video. You might need to find your way back to it.